This is completely unexpected. We had expected maybe some water cisterns or some water canalization, because that's typical of Jerusalem. But this is not that, it's dry in here. Then we thought maybe it's...
Scientists were granted unprecedented access to the tomb believed to be that of Jesus Christ. What they uncovered beneath centuries of marble and dust would defy expectations. Inside the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, researchers discovered a hidden chamber, its existence unknown to modern science, concealed beneath layers of stone. This clandestine space contained relics and inscriptions that seemed to challenge accepted historical narratives. The implications were profound. Could this tomb hold secrets that rewrite our understanding of history and faith? And why have they been sealed for so long? Stay with us as we find out. Jesus' tomb was shrouded in mystery for millennials, its exact location a matter of speculation and legend. Historical records were scarce, and most accounts were clouded by centuries of religious interpretation. Pilgrims and archaeologists alike had long feared approaching it. Rumors of sacred curses and spiritual consequences kept even the bravest away. But in a bold effort to uncover the truth, a multidisciplinary team of scientists, archaeologists, and forensic experts finally gained permission to examine the site. What they found immediately shattered expectations. The first obstacle was the tomb's entrance itself. Covered by layers of centuries-old stone and sealed with mortar that had hardened over 2 millennia, it seemed almost impenetrable. Initial scans using ground-penetrating radar revealed a complex network of chambers, some previously unknown, hidden beneath the surface. The scientists marveled at the ingenuity of the ancient builders, whose methods had preserved the tomb with astonishing precision. As the team carefully removed the outer stones, dust and faint echoes of history filled the air. The atmosphere was tense. Everyone understood that even a single misstep could destroy priceless evidence. When the final slab was lifted, the chamber revealed itself in stark detail. Walls etched with inscriptions, remnants of ancient oil lamps, and artifacts whose significance was immediately unclear. But the most astonishing sight was a perfectly preserved sarcophagus at the center, its stone lid untouched by looters or time. Even before analysis began, the tomb seemed to whisper secrets of a past that had been hidden for centuries. Every shadow, every fragment of debris suggested that something extraordinary had been concealed here, something that could challenge the very foundations of history and faith. As the team prepared to document their findings, the sense of anticipation was electric. For the first time, humanity stood on the threshold of uncovering a truth long thought unreachable. Little did they know, the discoveries inside would go far beyond artifacts and inscriptions. They would raise questions that historians, theologians, and scientists had avoided for centuries. What lay ahead was a journey that could change everything we thought we knew about the world's most famous figure. The moment the sarcophagus was exposed, the real work began. Scientists faced a delicate challenge: how to uncover what lay within without causing irreparable damage. Traditional excavation methods were out of the question. One wrong move could destroy evidence that had survived 2,000 years. To navigate this, they turned to cutting-edge technology, laser scanning, 3D imaging, and spectral analysis, to peer inside the tomb in ways never before possible. The collision of ancient craftsmanship and modern science created a tension that electrified the team. At the heart of the tomb, the stone lid bore intricate markings and seals that had baffled scholars for centuries. Experts quickly realized these were not mere decorations. They were sophisticated locking mechanisms, engineered with a precision that defied contemporary understanding. Each symbol, carefully carved into the stone, contained encoded information about the tomb's contents, the rituals performed, and possibly the identity of those who guarded it. By using high-resolution imaging, the team deciphered fragments of these codes without touching the fragile surface. Next came the lasers. Pulsing across the surface, they revealed hidden layers within the stone, uncovering faint traces of paint and pigment that suggested the tomb had once been vividly decorated. These markings hinted at messages long lost to history, warning outsiders or guiding initiates in sacred rites. Forensic chemists detected residues of aromatic oils, likely used in burial rituals, indicating that every inch of the tomb had been meticulously prepared. But the most astonishing discovery came from the tomb's inner chamber. Using spectral analysis, the scientists detected subtle energy signatures emanating from beneath the sarcophagus lid, anomalies that no ordinary stone or artifact could produce. The readings suggested the presence of organic matter preserved under conditions previously thought impossible. It was a clue that something extraordinary was waiting inside, something that could rewrite the story of one of history's most influential figures. As night fell and the tomb was bathed in the glow of scanning equipment, the team realized the collision of ancient ingenuity and modern technology was more than a scientific achievement. It was a bridge to a past humanity had only glimpsed in legend. Each discovery, each flicker of data, brought them closer to the ultimate revelation. The question now was no longer if the tomb held secrets, but what those secrets could mean for the world outside. As the scans intensified, the sarcophagus revealed hints of treasures long concealed beneath its heavy stone lid. What emerged was far beyond what any historian or archaeologist had dared to imagine. Artifacts, carefully arranged and untouched by human hands for over 2 millennia, filled the chamber with a silent story waiting to be told. The team's breath caught as they documented each object, realizing they were standing before a collection that could illuminate a period of history shrouded in mystery. Among the first items uncovered were fragments of textiles, remarkably preserved, their intricate patterns hinting at a sophistication in craftsmanship that modern researchers struggled to replicate. Carbon dating confirmed their age, matching the timeline of the historical Jesus, yet the quality and condition defied conventional logic. Nearby, delicate ceramic vessels contained traces of ancient oils and resins. Chemical analysis revealed substances used in ritualistic practices, some previously unknown to science, suggesting ceremonies of a nature far more complex than recorded in historical texts. The team also discovered small inscriptions on bone and pottery, etched with symbols that bore resemblance to ancient Hebrew and Greek scripts. Linguists immediately recognized them as coded messages, possibly intended to convey sacred knowledge or instructions for those allowed entry. Each artifact became a key, unlocking fragments of a story that had been carefully hidden, a narrative that had survived through secrecy and reverence. Even more startling were several metallic objects, their composition unlike any known alloy from the period. They were polished, lightweight, and strangely resistant to corrosion, suggesting advanced metallurgical knowledge lost to history. Could these objects have been intended as ceremonial tools, or did they serve a purpose no one yet understood? Every discovery deepened the mystery. The tomb, once thought to be a simple burial site, was revealing itself as a carefully curated archive, a repository of objects designed to preserve both spiritual and historical truths. Each artifact, no matter how small, carried with it questions that challenged what scholars had long taken for granted. As the team carefully cataloged the treasures, a sense of awe settled over them. This was not merely archaeology, it was a confrontation with a reality that straddled faith and science, history and legend. Among the tomb's most astonishing revelations was a series of organic samples carefully preserved within sealed containers and fragments of linen. At first glance, they appeared unremarkable, mere remnants of a burial. But as geneticists began their analysis, the results sent shockwaves through the team. The DNA sequences were unlike anything previously recorded from the region or era, raising questions that spanned theology, anthropology, and history. Using advanced genomic sequencing, scientists detected markers that suggested a lineage both unexpected and mysterious. While some sequences aligned with populations of first-century Judea, others contained variations previously unknown to science. These anomalies could indicate a genetic story that had been hidden for centuries, potentially offering insights into long-lost family connections or unknown branches of humanity. The implications were staggering. These findings might not only rewrite local history, but challenge broader understandings of migration, ancestry, and even historical timelines. Beyond lineage, biochemical analysis revealed compounds that suggested remarkable preservation methods. The linen wrappings contained microscopic traces of substances that appeared to inhibit decay, compounds unfamiliar to modern chemistry. Could these have been deliberately applied, Or were they a natural byproduct of some long-forgotten process? The scientists debated fiercely, knowing that the answer could reshape not just the story of one tomb, but our understanding of ancient practices. Perhaps the most controversial aspect was the possibility that these genetic markers could connect to living descendants, or at least relatives who had never been documented. The tomb, long believed to hold only the remains of a single individual, suddenly hinted at a much larger story, one that intertwined biology, history, and faith in ways no one had anticipated. The team understood the gravity of their discovery. Every sequence, every anomaly, posed questions humanity had avoided for centuries. Could this DNA confirm historical narratives, or would it rewrite them entirely? As the lab results streamed in, the sense of awe and tension was palpable. They were not merely examining a tomb, they were standing at the threshold of a revelation that could challenge the foundations of belief itself. What these sequences truly meant remained unclear, but one thing was certain: history as we knew it was about to be questioned. While the artifacts and DNA captured global attention, the team soon realized the tomb held far more than physical objects. Its very architecture seemed designed to conceal secrets, with hidden alcoves and shadowed recesses that had gone unnoticed for centuries. High-resolution scans revealed small cavities behind the walls, spaces too precise to be accidental. Each shadow, each curve of stone, suggested intentional concealment, as if the tomb itself was guarding truths meant only for those capable of deciphering them. Explorations using minimally invasive robotic probes revealed objects tucked away in these hidden corners: scroll fragments, tiny engraved stones, and remnants of organic material that had avoided decay. The scrolls, though heavily deteriorated, carried faint inscriptions in a combination of Aramaic and Greek. Linguists and historians speculated these were ritual instructions or cryptic messages meant to guide the initiates of a secret tradition. Some inscriptions even hinted at knowledge considered heretical or forbidden by early church authorities. Beyond texts, some of the recesses contained unusual mineral deposits, seemingly arranged in patterns that could suggest symbolic or ritual significance. Scientists speculated these might have been intended as markers, guiding those who knew how to interpret the tomb's hidden codes. Each discovery suggested that the tomb was not simply a burial chamber, but a carefully orchestrated archive of sacred and secret knowledge, deliberately hidden from the uninitiated. The shadows also played tricks on perception. Infrared imaging revealed traces of pigments and faded murals in places that were previously thought to be bare stone. These subtle images hinted at scenes of ceremonies or spiritual events that might have taken place within the tomb itself, though the exact meaning remained elusive. As the team documented these hidden spaces, a chilling realization set in. Centuries of careful preservation had not only protected artifacts, but had safeguarded secrets that could challenge historical and religious assumptions. The tomb was more than a final resting place. It was a vessel of mystery, deliberately constructed to obscure the truth from casual observers, while leaving breadcrumbs for those who could read its signs. The deeper they delved, the more the shadows whispered of a reality far stranger than any had imagined. What exactly were these secrets, and why were they hidden so meticulously? The answers lay just beyond reach, waiting to be uncovered. As the scientists focused on the tomb's inner chamber, anomalies began to emerge that defied explanation. Tiny fluctuations in temperature and subtle electromagnetic readings were detected near the sarcophagus, inconsistent with natural geological activity. Instruments picked up faint rhythmic pulses in the walls, as if the stone itself held a hidden resonance. The team was stunned. These were not mere coincidences. High-resolution scans revealed faint traces of mineral patterns embedded within the stone, forming geometric alignments that seemed deliberate. Some patterns resembled star maps, while others hinted at symbolic arrangements tied to early religious practices. Experts debated whether these anomalies were intentional, part of a sacred design, or a natural quirk misinterpreted by advanced instruments. Yet the pattern's precision suggested intentionality and intelligence behind their creation. Adding to the mystery were unusual organic residues detected in corners of the chamber. Chemical analysis revealed compounds that modern science could not replicate easily, suggesting advanced preservation techniques or substances whose purpose was ritualistic rather than practical. The traces hinted at secret ceremonies carried out within the tomb, long before modern observers arrived. Even more perplexing was the subtle movement of shadows under infrared light, revealing faint shapes and outlines that vanished when approached directly. The phenomenon suggested either an optical illusion or a deliberate method of concealment, perhaps meant to protect sacred knowledge. The team realized that the tomb was not only a repository of artifacts, but a living puzzle, designed to challenge anyone who entered. Every anomaly raised questions about its purpose, the minds that constructed it, and the knowledge they sought to safeguard. One thing was certain: the mysteries of the burial chamber were far from ordinary, and each discovery seemed to pull the team deeper into a world where science, history, and faith collided. The chamber was hiding more than objects. It was guarding truths the world was not yet ready to confront. As the investigation progressed, the scientists began piecing together fragments of evidence that defied conventional understanding. Each artifact, inscription, and anomaly seemed to point toward a narrative that contradicted centuries of accepted history. The tomb was not merely a resting place. It was a repository of hidden knowledge, carefully curated and preserved with astonishing precision. One particularly puzzling discovery was a set of small engraved tablets, each etched with symbols that blended religious, astronomical, and alchemical references. Experts struggled to interpret them, but preliminary analysis suggested they contained instructions or insights meant to be decoded by those with advanced knowledge. Some patterns even hinted at connections between historical events and celestial alignments, implying a level of sophistication far beyond what scholars had attributed to the period. In addition, several artifacts appeared to defy the timeline established by historians. Certain metals, pigments, and organic compounds suggested techniques and materials that should not have existed in the first century. Their presence raised critical questions. Were these objects brought from other regions? Did they reflect lost knowledge or undiscovered technologies? Or were they deliberately placed to obscure their true origins? Even more astonishing was the subtle interplay of light within the tomb. When sunlight hit certain angles at specific times, it illuminated hidden inscriptions and symbols on the walls, secrets invisible at other times of day. This deliberate design suggested a deep understanding of astronomy and symbolism, reinforcing the idea that the tomb's creators intended to protect knowledge meant only for the initiated. Every clue uncovered seemed to challenge established history, forcing the team to reconsider long-held assumptions. The deeper they delved, the clearer it became that the tomb was far more than a burial site. It was a carefully constructed archive of secrets designed to survive time, conceal truth, and provoke discovery. The question haunting the team was unavoidable. If these clues were true, how much of history had we misunderstood all along? As the team continued their meticulous work, a chilling realization began to take shape. Some of the evidence they uncovered could have been considered forbidden by religious authorities. Certain artifacts and inscriptions hinted at narratives that diverged sharply from traditional accounts, suggesting interpretations of events that had been deliberately suppressed for centuries. The tomb seemed to hold truths too sensitive for public knowledge. Among the most controversial discoveries were fragments of manuscripts that appeared to challenge long-held theological assumptions. Written in cryptic code, these texts referenced figures, events, and practices absent from canonical accounts. Scholars recognized elements that hinted at early communities practicing rituals and beliefs considered heretical by the emerging church. The implications were staggering. What if the story preserved within the tomb told a version of history that contradicted centuries of teaching? Even the artifacts themselves carried symbolism that could provoke intense debate. Items arranged in deliberate sequences, engraved with obscure symbols, and combined with organic residues suggested practices that blended science, spirituality, and ritual in ways modern understanding could barely grasp. These objects were not just relics. They were carriers of hidden knowledge that might have been considered too radical or dangerous to reveal. Complicating matters, the tomb's preservation techniques seemed far advanced for the era. Substances and compounds detected in the wrappings and sarcophagus indicated knowledge of chemistry and biology beyond what historians had attributed to first-century societies. Could these methods have been deliberately concealed, intended only for those equipped to understand them? The team faced a moral and intellectual dilemma. Every discovery seemed to challenge faith, history, and science simultaneously. The tomb, silent for centuries, now posed questions humanity had long avoided. As they documented the findings, one thought weighed heavily on everyone. What if the truths buried here had been deliberately hidden to protect institutions and to prevent a fundamental shift in belief? The forbidden nature of these discoveries made the team realize they were witnessing something far more profound than archaeology. They were uncovering a story the world had never been meant to see. As analysis progressed, it became clear that the tomb's contents were not just historically significant. They had the potential to challenge beliefs held by billions. Every artifact, inscription, and anomaly seemed to hint at truths that could redefine the story of one of humanity's most influential figures. The team grappled with the implications, understanding that their findings could spark debates across religion, science, and history. One of the most striking revelations involved a collection of objects that appeared to depict events absent from any known historical record. Symbols carved into stone and encoded messages on artifacts suggested alternative narratives surrounding the burial, resurrection, and early followers of Jesus. These clues hinted at practices and knowledge preserved in secrecy, implying a story intentionally hidden from mainstream accounts for centuries. Moreover, the unusual preservation techniques found in the tomb raised profound questions. The DNA, textiles, and organic materials indicated methods far ahead of their time, suggesting knowledge that could challenge conventional understandings of biology and history. Could these findings mean that some aspects of the story had been deliberately obscured, either to protect sacred knowledge or to maintain societal control? The team also uncovered evidence of carefully orchestrated alignments within the tomb. Light, shadow, and even hidden carvings interacted in ways that pointed to celestial events, suggesting a cosmic significance to the burial site. Such intentional design implied a sophisticated understanding of astronomy and symbolism, linking faith and science in ways never documented before. Every discovery added weight to the possibility that the tomb's secrets could profoundly impact faith worldwide. The team understood that what lay before them was more than archaeology. It was a confrontation with truths that humanity had never fully faced. The question now loomed larger than ever. Could the revelations hidden within this tomb truly reshape the world's understanding of history and belief? After months of painstaking analysis, the team approached the tomb's most guarded secrets. Hidden beneath layers of stone, dust, and centuries of silence, they uncovered a chamber within the sarcophagus itself, smaller, almost imperceptible, yet meticulously constructed. Inside lay a set of relics and inscriptions that left even the most seasoned scientists speechless. The artifacts hinted at a reality far stranger than anticipated. Among them were fragments of writings suggesting that the events surrounding Jesus' death and resurrection were deliberately encoded for posterity. Symbols indicated knowledge of biology, preservation, and celestial patterns intertwined with spiritual teachings, a deliberate fusion of science and faith that had been concealed for millennia. The sarcophagus, it seemed, was not merely a tomb, but a repository for a secret legacy. Even more astonishing was evidence pointing to the intentional safeguarding of lineage and knowledge. DNA traces suggested connections to previously unknown descendants or contemporaries, while inscriptions hinted at wisdom passed down through secretive channels. The careful preservation of objects, combined with encoded messages, suggested that this tomb had been designed not only to protect remains, but to guard a hidden truth. The final revelation was almost metaphysical. Patterns of light and shadow within the chamber aligned precisely with celestial events, creating moments where inscriptions and symbols became visible only at certain times of the year. The tomb itself appeared to act as a cosmic calendar, bridging human history with celestial phenomena, a staggering level of sophistication that suggested its creators intended to communicate with generations far beyond their own. As the team documented these final discoveries, it became clear that the tomb held more than artifacts. It held a narrative capable of challenging history, faith, and science simultaneously. Humanity had glimpsed a story hidden for centuries, and the implications were profound. The tomb was not just a resting place. It was a testament to knowledge, secrecy, and a legacy that could change everything we thought we knew. The tomb's secrets have emerged, revealing a story buried for centuries, one that challenges history, faith, and human understanding. These discoveries remind us that the past still holds mysteries waiting to reshape the present. What will humanity do with these revelations, now finally brought to light?